A big story in Afghanistan, potentially, but right now it's just an enormous effort to track the facts and find out if it's true. The Afghan government is investigating reports that the leader of the Afghan Taliban is dead. Afghan and Pakistani media this week said Mullah Omar died 2 or 3 years ago. He hasn't been seen in public since 2001. This is a photograph we believe of him, but even that isn't certain. Mullah's death has been rumored in the past, but the Taliban have not confirmed it. Let's get some perspective on all of this. Senior international correspondent Nick Payton-Walsh is following the story from Beirut and joins us. Nick, what can you tell us? This seems like an enormous hunt for clues for a man who's been covering his tracks very successfully for 15 years at least.
I think an enormous hunt for evidence, really, and a large flurry of media information earlier on today. Now, this began with a couple of reports, one in the BBC, citing presidential sources saying that he had died, admitting they hadn't heard from the Taliban, but that was then subsequently followed up by reports that we would hear a press conference at the presidential palace, unclear who would speak, and then that subsequently was delayed. And then a deputy spokesperson emerged for the palace and said, well, actually, we are currently looking at reports to try and confirm them, whether or not he's died, and when we have more accurate information, we'll come and we'll talk to you about that, leaving great confusion as to quite where the genesis of the suggestion he was now officially dead had emerged from. Now, he's been reported dead through Pakistani media, Afghan media over the years now. This is a man who's 55 or so. That is comparatively late in terms of Afghan life expectancy. He was injured fighting the Soviets. He's been in hiding, unclear where, some suggestions potentially southern Afghanistan. And he's now deeply under pressure too. You have to think about the timing of this speculation today, Jonathan. We've actually heard from ourselves Afghan officials suggesting he may be dead, claiming they're aware of it. But this on-the-record statement never came. In days ahead, there is another meeting, vital one, between the Taliban and the Afghan government discussing peace. Now, some are speculating that this timing of the report may well feed into trying to weaken the Taliban ahead of those talks. The Afghan government is deeply split, factionalized. Perhaps some parts of that government leaking the story want those talks to be destabilized. It's confusing. Certainly, there don't appear to be US sources backing this up either. In fact, even the Afghan ones are backtracking. It's been a very messy morning, but while Mullah Omar is certainly not in the greatest state of health, there's no one willing now in the Afghan government to stand up and say what they've been hinting at earlier, that he's actually officially dead.